Once, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills, there was an old woman known as Grandma Alara. She was a wise soul, revered by all, for her stories carried the weight of lifetimes, and her insights seemed to reach into the very heart of human existence. One winter afternoon, as a group of young villagers gathered around her fireplace, she decided it was time to share a lesson that would change the way they viewed their lives forever. "Come closer, children," she called, her voice warm and inviting. "I have something to show you today that will change the way you see the world." The children, intrigued by her tone, gathered around. Grandma Alara slowly pulled out an old, worn jar from under the table. It was a simple jar, glass, with a rusty lid, but it was clear that it had been handled many times before. She placed it on the table, and the firelight danced across its surface. "This," she said, her fingers gently tracing the rim, "is the jar of life." The children leaned in, curious. One of them, a young boy named Eli, asked, "What's inside it, Grandma?" She smiled kindly at him. "Ah, that's a good question, Eli. But the jar is not meant to be opened, not yet. You see, inside this jar are the moments, experiences, and decisions that shape the course of our lives. But there's something very important you must understand about this jar." The group waited in silence, hanging on her every word. "Each time you face a choice, each time you change direction, or each time you learn something new, a new stone is added to the jar. And every time something happens that teaches you a lesson, a stone is placed inside. Some stones are big, some are small, and some you may not even realize are there at first. But they all matter. They all become a part of who you are." Grandma Alara paused for a moment, looking at each of the young faces before her. "I know you're all at different points in your lives," she continued, "and you might think you have your path figured out. But let me tell you something, you will never see your life the same way again. Every experience, every decision, will shift your perspective, like a stone slowly changing the shape of the jar." The children were silent, thinking deeply. Finally, a young girl named Maya spoke up. "But Grandma, what if I make a mistake? What if I put the wrong stone in the jar?" Grandma Alara chuckled softly. "Ah, Maya, that's the beauty of the jar. You see, there are no wrong stones. Some stones may be rough and jagged, some may be smooth, and others may be dull. But every single one of them serves a purpose. It's through the mistakes, the hardships, and the failures that you grow the most. You may not understand the lessons at first, but they shape you. Over time, when you look at the jar, you will realize that every stone, every moment, has led you to this point in your life." The children looked at the jar with new understanding. Grandma Alara went on. "As you go through life, the jar will fill up. And as it fills, you will begin to notice that your perspective shifts. What once seemed like a disaster may now appear as a valuable lesson. What once felt like a setback may now feel like a necessary pause to help you grow. You'll begin to see that your life was never about a single moment, but about how every moment, every stone, fit together to create the person you are becoming." She picked up the jar and held it up to the light. "Remember this, you may not always see the stones as they are placed, but in the end, when the jar is full, you will understand. and you will never look at your life the same way again." The fire crackled softly as the children sat in awe, contemplating the truth of her words. They realized that each challenge, each triumph, was a part of their personal journey, and with that knowledge, they saw their futures in a new light. And as the years went by, they would each fill their own jars, knowing that the journey of life was not about avoiding mistakes but about embracing the fullness of every experience, transforming the roughest stones into the brightest gems of wisdom.